Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Untapped Mana podcast. I'm your host, Palmer Snell, and I hope you can join me today as we dive into the wonderful world of Magic the Gathering. So, starting off today's episode, I thought it was really interesting when I was looking through some cards and I saw some really bad ones. Like, what are the worst and best cards of Magic the Gathering? So, today I compiled a list of my 15 favorite worst cards. Not favorite, but my top 15 worst cards, and then my top 7 best cards in Magic. And then aside from that, I also have some information on the MTG Arena Premier Play, the Secret Lair news, and the Outlaws at the Thunder Junction lore that has been coming out the last couple weeks, maybe last week and a half, give or take. So if you're ready for that, then sit back, relax, grab a bag of popcorn, and enjoy the show. So starting off today's episode, I just have a little bit of news for the Premier Play for MTG Arena. There's just a little bit of changes happening from April to May. So for April, for the qualifier weekend of day 1, you will need 7 wins to get to day 2 and 2 losses before elimination. And then the new, because that was the current, the new starting in May of 2024 is 7 wins needed for day 2 and then 3 losses before elimination. Qualifier weekend for day 2, you'll need 7 wins to get the Arena Championship invite and the Pro Tour invite, and then 6 or fewer wins are tracked on the at-large leaderboard for a second chance at the Arena Champions invite. That is what is starting in May is 6 wins needed for the Arena Championship invite, a Pro Tour invite move to Arena Championship, the invite to next month's qualifier weekend day 1 for 1 to 3 wins, an invite to next month's qualifier weekend, day 2, for 4 or 5 wins, and then an at-large leaderboard removed. So that's kind of what's been happening with that for day 1 and day 2. For the Arena Championship, right now it is 32 players. It is 2 Magic World Championship invites, and then $20,000 in prizes. From May of 2024, it is an uncapped number of players. Top 16 qualify for Pro Tour. The unchanged is 2 Magic World Championship invites and then $250,000 in prizes. So a lot of stuff to happen. It's going to be kind of crazy, but following is the qualifier play-in schedule for months that will feed Arena Championship 7. In May is the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Limited. The best of 1 date is May 4th, and the best of 3 day is May 10th. June is Explorer. That is the format. And then the best of 1 is June 8th, and the best of 3 is June 14th. July is Historic. The best of 1 day is July 6th. The best of 3 day is July 12th. July bonus is the Modern Horizons 3 Limited, with the best of 1 happening July 7th and no best of 3. So jump on that in July if you want to do anything with Modern Horizons. And then August is the Bloomborough Limited, which the best of 1 is August 3rd, and the best of 3 is August 9th. So a couple upcoming qualifier weekend events are May 11th through 12th are the Outlaws at Thunder Junction Limited. June 15th through 16th is Explorer. June 13th through 14th is Historic. And then July 13th through 14th is Historic. And then August 10th through 11th is Bloomborough Limited. And then some of the Arena Championship events is the 5th one is March 30th through April 1st. So that's coming up in this next week. The 6th one is July. The date will be to be determined. And then the 7th one is October/November, which is also to be determined. So throughout 2024, all Arena Opens will be limited events. The best of 1 and day 3 sealed. And then the best of 2 will be the best of 3 draft on day 2. And then the Arena Opens on the height of the open competition in MTG Arena. All you have to do is show up, sign in, and sling spells to complete for $2,000 top prize. In 2023, Magic and Arena also awarded over 2,000 players with a total of more than $3 million. So if you're good at MTG Online or in Arena and you have the cards, definitely try to qualify for that because it's a way to make some money, and who doesn't like a little bit of extra cash in their pocket? So switching on over gears, that was just a little bit of news that happened this week. Really not a lot has been announced this week or news with Magic, but I did have a little interesting kind of section I want to talk about. While looking at some cards, I saw that, man, there are some horrible cards, and I want to list off my personal 15 worst cards in Magic. So starting off at number 15 is the Lotus Garden. It is a 7 colorless artifact creature. It has flying. It's 4/4 with the ability to tap to add 1 mana of any color. This is bad because it is a 7 cost creature that is a 4/4, and you can tap it to add mana, but it'll have Summoning Sickness, so you can't even tap that mana right away. Again, a really expensive creature for flying. Yes, it's nice as flying, but it's only a 4/4, so you're really not getting your bang for your buck there. Coming in at number 14 is Security Detail. It is 3 colorless and a white. It is an enchantment. You may pay 2 and put a white plus a 1/1 creature soldier token into play. You may only play this ability if you control no creatures and only once per turn. So it's kind of hard to do that unless a board wipe just happened for all creatures, but sometimes if board wipes happen, that also gets rid of enchantments. So this really doesn't make sense, and you have to pay 2 white to put the 1/1 white soldier creature in. So you're really spending this mana that you may not have to just to put a 1/1 in when there is so many other 2-cost creatures that do better things. So again, I didn't really like that card. It didn't really make sense to me, and then only once per turn when you have no creatures is kind of a dire need. So if you really need the card, good, but I don't really see it coming into play. But moving on to number 13 is the Dispersing Orb, which is a 3 colorless, 2 blue enchantment. You may pay 3 colorless and 1 blue to sacrifice a permanent, return target permanent to its owner's hand. So in total, you're paying 9 to sacrifice one of your own permanents and then return a target permanent to its owner's hand, not even destroying it. Really just not bang for your buck right there. You're spending so much mana to really not do anything, and you're getting rid of one of your own permanents just to bounce another person into their hand. So not great a card. But onto an even worse one, Mudhole, which is a 2 colorless, 1 red instant. Target player removes all lands in their graveyards from the game. So like that can be good if you want to get rid of land in their graveyard, but no one really targets land in a graveyard. And there's already other cards like Bazooka Bog that does that exiles it. And I just feel like Mudhole doesn't really make sense. And if you're going to sit and target someone's graveyard to get rid of their lands specifically, then I think you need to check yourself because you're a jerk. And nobody will like you at the table. Another card that people may question you at the table is number 11, Dragon Appeasement, which is a 3 colorless, 1 red, green, and black enchantment, which allows you to skip your draw step. No, it doesn't allow you. You have to skip your draw step. Yes, I said that. You have to skip it. And then whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may draw a card. So it is Jund. So yes, you will be sacrificing creatures, but getting rid of your draw step? Like, what if you don't have a creature to sacrifice? You don't get to draw a card, and then you might be screwed if you're able to do anything. So, again, it's super expensive. It's a 6 color or a 6 cost enchantment. Totally not worth it. I don't think so. But another thing that's definitely not worth it is number 10, Wood Elemental, which is a 3 colorless, 1 green summon elemental that has the star/star. So the stars in the lower right-hand corner are set to the number of untapped forests you sacrifice when Wood Elemental is brought into play. So if you have a lot of forests, this card can be good. But not only do you have to pay 1 green and 3 colors, you have to pay 4 in total, you also have to get rid of however many lands you want this toughness to be. So if you can't get rid of any, it's a 0 and then it just dies. So you have to get rid of at least 1. But then it's like, this doesn't make any sense. So I just think the card sucks. There's really not another explanation. Most of these cards really just suck, and I don't have to explain it. I feel like you all understand. So for number 9, we have Bubble Matrix, which is 4 colorless artifact. All damage dealt to creatures is reduced to 0. If you want to slow down the game, this is a great card, but this is really just a way to slow it down. I mean, no other thing. All damage reduced to 0 for creatures is just pretty bad, and if you play this, have fun with your other commander players because your games are going to be like 4 hours long unless they can get rid of an artifact. But another artifact you might want to get rid of is number 8, the Nuisance Engine. It's in the name. It's a nuisance. It's a 3 colorless artifact. You may pay 2 colorless to tap it, put a 0/1 pest artifact creature token into play. So you have a bunch of blockers that you have to pay 2 for, and they're just pests. So this card is just a joke. I mean, you don't really use it. It's just a meme card. So if you're using it, hopefully it's a meme deck, or it's a deck where you give it to other players, because that would be funny. But if you're using this in a normal deck, shame, because it doesn't do anything. Number 7 is Obelisk of Undoing. It is a 1 colorless artifact. You may pay 6 colorless and then tap it to return target permanent you control to your own hand. You're paying 7 to bounce a card to your hand. Like, I understand paying a thing again to, like, get the ETB effect, but, like, paying 7 just to do that? That just doesn't make any sense. Like, why, when you have other cards where you can sacrifice it and maybe bring it back from the graveyard for cheaper, but no, paying 7 just to bounce something to your own hand is absolutely crazy. Along with number 6, the Juju Bubble, which is a 1 colorless artifact. It has a cumulative upkeep of 1. If you play a card, bury Juju Bubble, but you may pay 2 life. You may pay 2 colorless to gain 1 life. So this card just sucks. Like, I'm not even going to explain it. This card just sucks. You're paying 1 to cast it, a cumulative upkeep of 1. Unless you play a card, then it's just destroyed. And then you may pay 2 colorless mana to gain a life. So if it's really worth it and you really need the life, go ahead. But if you don't ever play this card. Along with number 5, Pale Moon, it is a 1 colorless and a blue instant. Until end of turn, if a player taps a non-basic land for mana, it produces colorless mana instead of its normal type. You might think, hey, that's really good. You know, if you want to have someone not play a counterspell or something, if like, oh shoot, they can't tap any blue if I do this. Well, in response to your instant, they can just tap their lands. So there's no point, because if you're trying to get rid of someone not doing a counterspell, you'll be like, hey, your land's tapped for colors. You're going to be like, okay, in response, I'm going to tap my lands to get 2 blue to then play a counterspell or something. So it doesn't make sense on the stack, at least. Again, not a good card. Number 4 is Aladdin's Ring. It is an 8 colorless artifact. You may then pay 8 more colorless to do 4 damage to any one target. So you're paying 16 mana to do 4 damage to only one singular target. I don't understand why. That is so much mana that you could put elsewhere. But instead, you're going to do 4 damage to one crappy little creature, probably. So, again, not good. Number 3, Break Open, is a 1 colorless, 1 red instant. Turn target face down creature and opponent controls face up. So with the new face down mechanic that has come to Magic with the last Merge the Karlov set, this card just does not make any sense, because these decks want their cards to be then turned face up. So if you do this, you're just helping your opponent. And if you're helping your opponent, unless you're politicking, then this card is great. But if you don't want to help your opponents, then what the hell is the point of playing this card? Oh my goodness, it doesn't make any sense. These cards just blow my mind on, like, it's funny, yes, that Magic makes them, but who in their right mind would play these? Number 2 is Apocalypse Chime. It is a 2 colorless artifact. You may pay 2 colorless to tap and sack to bury all cards from the Homelands expansion set. So if you have any cards from the Homelands set, well, then you're screwed. But if you don't, this card does absolutely nothing. Now you might think, how is this not the worst card in Magic? Well, the first card, at least in my list, and I agree with Mark Rosewater, he says this is the worst card of Magic. It is number 1, Sorrow's Path. So Sorrow's Path is a land. It says tap, exchange 2 of opponent's blocking creatures. This exchange may not cause any illegal block. Sorrow's Path does 2 damage to you and 2 damage to each creature you control whenever it is tapped. So it's a land that doesn't give you any mana. So what is the point of playing a land that doesn't give you mana? Again, so stupid, but these are the top 15, at least in my opinion, worst cards in Magic the Gathering. I want to give a huge shout out to Zeke's Comics and Games, the official sponsor of the Untapped Mana Show. Zeke's Comics and Games is located in Washington, Illinois, and it has so much to offer in the realm of Pokemon, Games Workshop, D&D, and Magic the Gathering. With Modern Horizons 3 on the horizon, see what I did there? I know. We will have a discount code coming soon, not yet out, but soon, that you can use on their website to get yourself percentage off, a discount. I don't know the percentage yet, but you will be able to get a discount when you order off their website. But you can also order Magic cards off their TCG Player Seller profile. You can also get Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Flesh and Blood, Lorcana, just to name a few, for some of the most reasonable prices you can find on the market. To find out more information and to see the product they offer, check out the link tree in my bio or go to linktr.ee/untappedmanashow. There you can also find all my socials and other ways to listen to the show. So heading into the next section, these are my top 7 personal favorite best cards in Magic. Starting off, number 7 is Mishra's Workshop. It is a land. You tap to add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. Only spend this mana to cast artifact spells. Number 6 is Mana Drain. It is a 2 blue instant to counter target spell at the beginning of your next main phase. Add X colorless mana to your pool wherever X mana value was of that spell. So both these cards, really good. Mishra's Workshop is a personal favorite of mine. I actually play a artifact deck that would be perfect for this because it's just Artifact Swarm. It's kind of, if you play artifacts, that card's going to be great. Mana Drain, really good. If you're going to counter something on someone's turn that's a big creature, you're just going to get all that mana back. So if you want to cast something on your turn, again, great for an Eldrazi deck, especially because it's colorless mana. It's pretty good, except it is blue, so I guess I wouldn't work an Eldrazi deck unless it is a all-color one, which is coming in the Modern Horizons 3 set. But Mana Drain, good card. I mean, it's a counter spell that gives you a buff for the same cost. It's also an expensive card, though, so if you want to get that, make sure you have the cost to go behind that. Next is Mana Crypt. It is a 0-cost artifact. You can tap to add 2 colorless mana at the beginning of your upkeep. Flip a coin. If you lose the flip, you lose 3 life. Pretty simple. Free 2 mana on your first turn. Then you can destroy it if you need, or keep it to lose that 3 life. I did just finally buy my first ever Mana Crypt. It's so exciting to have it in my collection. Check out my decks on Moxfield. It is in the double land deck, so you'll see how that deck runs and where I put the Mana Crypt in there. So it's a pretty cool deck. Another card that's in that deck is Rhystic Study, which is number 4. It is a 2 colorless and a blue enchantment. Whenever an opponent would cast a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. Well, I love drawing and I love getting through my deck fast, so this card is perfect because unless it's early game, your opponents may or may not be playing spells, but if it's late game, they'll be playing a lot of spells, and you're going to be able to just, boom, get that, boom, let me get a card unless you pay 1, because most people don't want to spend that extra 1, and you get to draw a card. Now, make sure you have a Reliquary Tower, or some way to say that you have no maximum hand size, because this can get scary real quick. Number 3 is Demonic Tutor. It is a 1 colorless and a black instant. You may search your library for a card, put that card onto your hand, and then shuffle. So you're just going to tutor. It's a free tutor. Not free tutor. It's a 2-cost tutor to look for any card that you want. Just great card. Pretty self-explanatory in that sense. Number 2 is Gaia's Cradle. It is a legendary land. You may tap it to add 1 forest for each creature you control. I don't have that, but I have the Budget, which is Growing Rights of Itlimoc, which is a legendary enchantment that costs 3. When it enters the battlefield, you may look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform it. And then it transforms into tap 1 mana or 1 green mana to your mana pool, or tap 1 green into your mana pool for each creature you control. So, again, Budget is great any way you can do that. I chose to go Budget, which is Growing Rights of Itlimoc, but Gaia's Cradle is ultimately one of my favorite cards in Magic. But my favorite card in Magic, and the best card in Magic, I think everyone can agree on this, and a card that I want one day in my collection, I don't have it now, definitely not, but one day will have, is the Black Lotus. It's a 0-cost artifact. It adds 3 mana of any color of your choice to your mana pool, then is discarded. Tapping this can be played as an interrupt. So, it's Black Lotus. Everybody knows this card. One of my favorite cards in Magic. It's beautiful. It is the staple of the game. That's pretty self-explanatory. But that is my top 7 favorite and best Magic cards in the format. Let me know what you think, depending on your worst cards, at least in your opinion, or your favorite cards and best cards. So throw those in the comments of the Instagram post for this episode. No giveaway, sadly, but there is a giveaway. I'll talk about at the end of the episode, but just let me know. I want to hear what your least and favorite cards are. So drop those in the comments. So right before we wrap up, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Secret Lair, which is coming in 2 days, 7 hours, 52 minutes, and 40 seconds of this recording. So that's pretty soon. Make sure you get your Sheldon Spellbook. Secret Lair, if you really want it, it supports the American Cancer Society. Definitely go check that out. I'd love to get it. At the moment, I cannot, but hopefully one day I can pick it up because some of the cards in there are just beautiful, and it goes for a good cause. The other thing I want to talk about is that the Outlaws of Thunder Junction has had a lot of lore coming out on the Magic website, so go check that out if you want to read it. I got to catch up. Once it's all posted, then I'll probably read it, do a short breakdown on the channel, but it's going to give us a little bit of intro into what's happening in this brand new plane and brand new just area of Magic and what's happening with this set. So it's going to be really cool. I can't wait to read all of it to find out what's happening in the realm of Magic. So coming to an end of the episode, I do have a giveaway, which hopefully most of you are entered in. If you'd like to, go over and check out my Instagram at the Untapped Mana Show. I am giving away a Murders at the Karlov Manor poster. Definitely, if you want to add that to your collection, jump in those comments. It's super easy. There's a post I made a couple weeks ago. Check that out. You're going to see how to enter. Again, super easy. The deadline to join is March 31st, with the drawing happening April 2nd because April 1st is an observed holiday, and I'm going to take that as a holiday because, yeah. In my Instagram bio, you can also find my Linktree, which gives access to my Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcast page, Spotify page, and all the Zeke's Comics and Games pages, along with my Mox Field. There is a Twitch in there. I want everyone's feedback. If you'd like to see maybe some MTG Arena streamed or videos on the channel, let me know in the Instagram comments for this post. I'd like to know your feedback, but I do have that just in case we ever need to. But thank you all for listening. It's been a dream to make this episode and the show in general. I've had so much fun making all this. I've always wanted to have a podcast, and as I said before, I'm finally able to, and it makes me so happy. So let me know what your best and favorite cards and your least favorite cards are in the comments. Let me know what you think I should do with the future of videos and such, like with the Twitch. And of course, let me know if there's anything you want to see in the future. I also think I might shorten down episodes to maybe once every 2 weeks, starting maybe in April, May. So let me know your feedback on that. Just because of all the news, there's not a lot been out. So when there's not news, I may not do a big episode, or I might do something fun like this, where it's not really talking about anything special happening, but just cards I like in general. So let me know any feedback down in the comments. I love to hear it all. I read it all. But remember to never leave any mana untapped. That is, unless you're a blue player. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you to Zeke's Comics Games for sponsoring the channel.